So I've been doing my ninja show now, and I'm having a little anxiety. It's because I covered a lot in the first 3 episodes, and now I can't come up with anything else to put it in. I mean, I did a video earlier today, but it really sucked because I got right off track, and that wasn't really the worst part. The worst part was all the freaking wind made the video made it almost impossible to tell what I was saying for some parts of it, and couldn't really keep up with it. I really got off topic, so I didn't want to post it. So maybe I should try not to actually stay on topic, but to just talk about things as they come up, like I do with my vlog. There is something that I covered in that video. I know I'm pacing, and maybe that looks a little weird to you, and well, it's a little weird to me, but I'm in this small room, and I need to get some exercise, and moving helps me think, and Patrick Borges said that when he wanted to study something intensively, or learn everything about a topic, or learn a bunch of things at once, he would do some running or some exercise or some cardio, or drink a bunch of coffee and whatever he could do to get his heart rate up, and then once his heart rate was up, he would be able to study more intensively. So maybe I'm walking because it helps me like get my heart rate up, get my brain moving, you know, actually have my body functioning. This is a very small area to be walking back and forth in, by the way. Very, very small. But I don't feel like laying down or sitting, and my back hurts too much to stand still. I have a bad back. It's actually crooked. That's all I know. Got an MRI that said that, but I'm getting very, very off topic. I don't know, I feel like if I try to stay on topic, then I'm constraining myself, and then I'm corrupting the fact that I want the show to be entirely natural. I want to flow naturally and to be natural and to have my ideas as they come and just be formulaic in the execution of the portrayal of information. But there was one thing I covered in the video that I deleted, that I did earlier today in the wind. I'm noticing my speech is slurred a little bit more, but I'm worried I'm not speaking clear enough on these videos. I saw a squirrel, and I didn't notice him right away. He was in my field of vision, but then it wasn't until my eyes focused on him that I realized he was actually there. And that lined up perfectly with what I was talking about at the time in the video. See, just because your 5 senses experience something doesn't mean they detect it. It really has to come down to your perception with ninjutsu. If someone sees you but they don't detect you, then it doesn't matter if you got seen, you can still sneak. You can be right in front of somebody and be visible, and if they don't notice you're there, then it doesn't matter. Like one way to do this is camouflage, or sometimes moving slowly, or a combination of the two. Sometimes something that's moving so slowly that it looks like it's not moving at all doesn't attract any attention. And sometimes if you want to disguise sound, then it's if you're sneaking in an area, like your footsteps, or your footsteps, maybe they're loud, or you're walking across something noisy, or you're not very good at sneaking quietly, or some factors affecting you that makes it hard for you to step quietly, or say someone's talking, or you're talking, or you stub your toe and you yell or something like that, if you're in a very noisy environment, then the noise pollution drowns out the fact that you're making a lot of noise while you're sneaking. So distractions can also help you sneak, and there's visual pollution too, you know, but I don't know exactly how that would work. You got smoke bombs and fog and stuff. You're gonna have to do some thinking on your own if you want to get to understand that better, but it's a very broad topic that you can apply to pretty much any situation, so don't just limit it to the things that I've actually said. Never limit anything I'm talking about on this show to the actual things I've said, because you can always expand on them, and that's pretty much my intent with these things, is to make them so that you can learn the fundamentals of ninjutsu from me, learn how to do ninjutsu from me, and then craft your own jutsu, your own style from the ninjutsu I teach you. That's why I'm not teaching you know, what specific school or history about ninjutsu or about a specific ninja clan, because I just want you to take ninjutsu and apply it practically and maybe even tactically, because it's a very useful thing. And that's what I'm having trouble portraying, is exactly how ninjutsu is useful tactically. Now, I think it's pretty clear that stealth can be effective in a tactical situation. Like, say, if you're a soldier in the army, if no one detects you, then you have a better chance of killing them, and more importantly, and more so, you have a better chance of not being killed yourself. Maybe your intent isn't to kill them, maybe it's reconnaissance, but if you're detected, you're screwed, because then they're all going to fire at you. Shit, I keep having this like brain lock, like something's blocking my flow, and then I can't, you know, like link into the consciousness of the universe and extract ideas. I mean, I have my own thoughts, but I feel the flow, not only the flow of my own thoughts and how they interact with reality, but the flow of whatever I'm trying to conceptualize in reality, and because I can feel it, I can apply those concepts to things. But I mentioned in episode 2 something about being haunted by evil spirits. You don't have to believe in that. As a matter of fact, you can call me crazy if you want. It won't change anything what your opinion is of what the actual fact is. But be they evil spirits or be they Murray Anthony Sheehan, which is probably the latter, I experience blockage from an external source, and it makes it a lot harder for me to do this kind of thing. It not only blocks my understanding of reality, but the flow of my own thoughts. I can still go in directions that I'm already aware of, but it makes it harder for me to make a connection between say, two things I already know, and then build on them to as Tris from the owner of the esotericonline.net site said, to formulate. He said my videos formulate, or they're formulaic, or something like that. And that is how I operate ever since having to defend myself against evil spirits. I've had to formulate everything, because everything needs to be in a constantly building structure, always with the result of me always getting stronger and stronger, always evolving, getting rid of attributes that work to my disbenefit and or my detriment, and gaining or promoting attributes that work to my benefit. And maybe you should too. Not that I'm saying you have evil spirits or that you should believe in them. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't know it. But it's good to constantly build yourself up. And I don't mean metaphorically or mental gymnastics or psychology, even though you could use psychology to build yourself up. I mean, increase your willpower. Increase your knowledge. Increase your understanding. Increase your intelligence. Stand up for yourself. When someone says you're doing something wrong and you're doing something right, tell them. You know? Say, I'm not going to accept your false answer. And when you don't realize you're doing something wrong, and somebody proves to you that you're doing something wrong, accept it. If they say something to you and you actually understand from what they said that you are doing it wrong, don't sit there and be like, well, if I admit that I'm wrong, I'm going to look like an idiot. No, you're not. Or if I admit that I'm wrong, oh, then I have to accept that what they're saying is true and I don't really want to believe it. Well, that doesn't matter, because if you don't accept it and it really is true, then you're just lying to yourself. And if you choose to believe something because you prefer that view of reality and not because it's actually realistic, then you're only hurting yourself. And those are the kind of people that I like to push over the edge. Those are the kind of people that it's very easy to, with the right knowledge, open the door and give them a little push and say, go fuck yourself over. You know, go right ahead and corrupt your mind so that you're no longer an issue to me. I will weaken your psyche through your own ignorance and your own will to be ignorant. And I'll make you, I'm not going to say like a sniveling mass of jello. That's kind of unrealistic. But the person, the subject of being pushed into their own ignorance kind of becomes I had to think about what's actually happened to people that I do this with. They kind of actually, you'd think that they would become a sniveling mass of jello, whimpering and acting all weird, but what actually happens is that they usually get pushed so far to the edge, so deep, so far up their own ass, so far into their own wrong answer, that they are actually forced to realize that it's wrong. They come to a point where they're like, oh my God, I was such an idiot. I had something so stupid. I made such an error. And they actually try to repent in the literal sense of the word, not in the asking for forgiveness sense of the word. They do that, though, sometimes. But they actually usually come crawling back and say, oh, you know, I was an asshole, or what I did was wrong. Not necessarily in those exact words. And they say, you know, I did the wrong thing, I made an error. I want what I did to be recognized as a fallacy, as a fault, as something I did that was wrong. And then at that point, they're enlightened. They're enlightened to the fact that they shouldn't have done that, but they also realize what they should have done, or at least the complete invalidity of what they did by way of it being a logical fallacy. And that's the kind of ninja psychology that I've learned, and that's the kind of thing that I've been trying to communicate. So by getting off topic, I've actually managed to talk about what I really felt like. Because I'm a rambler, and, well, I guess if you think of rambling as speaking with no topic and going on and on, then I'm not a rambler. But if you think of rambling as talking and talking and talking and making another point and moving from topic to topic, then I am a rambler. But it's only because I like to actually expand my knowledge as I talk about something. I like to build up understanding. I don't enter into a conversation with the point of thinking I am right. I enter into a conversation with the idea of what can I learn? What can I learn from this conversation? What can I learn during this session? What can I make myself realize? What can I enlighten myself to? And what can I enlighten others to? For me, it's all about the positive. It's about what I can give to others that is good for them, and what I can do for myself that is good for me. And that's pretty much the ultimate I don't know the word. It's pretty much the ultimate something in ninjutsu. Pretty much the ultimate answer that you'll find in ninjutsu if you actually practice ninjutsu. Like I talked about with all those weaknesses interchanging. Once you overcome your weaknesses so many times, you're gonna find strength. You're gonna find that the only true strength is positivity and is love. If you don't have love, you see the world differently than if you do have love. And that's not a religious statement, and that's not me trying to get you to be a goody two-shoes. And I'm not even saying once you have love that everything's gonna be all sunshine and farts. As a matter of fact, when I first found out what real love is, and I'm not talking about being in a relationship with somebody, I'm talking about the actual power that love is. I'm talking about pure, positive light, which is goodness, which is love. The concept of good is light. The concept of good is love. And it's not really a concept so much as it's a physical thing that actually exists. But until you become charged with light, until you become charged with love, positive love, you won't really understand. So I should have said positive light, which is love. And you know, the concept of love is very important to psychology. See, love is a charge. It's not just light. It's positive light. And it comes in the form of a plus, or the iron cross, as some people might call it. And this love, it charges you and makes everything in your life different. Because now that you are charged with a supernatural ability, this love, you have the ability to do things you couldn't before. See, certain parts of who you are become different when you have love. For instance, patience is one of the neutral states of water, neutrally charged, or as science would call it, uncharged. But peace is the positively charged version of patience. They're both forms of stopping, but although patience is just having the mental wherewithal or the mental ability to wait without becoming overly stressed, or the having the reserve. Is it reserve? There's got to be a better for it. Resolve. Having the reserve. I know that doesn't really work, but it's going to make sense in the sense having the. No, I don't like that. Having the. It's just having the willpower or whatever to actually sit there and wait. But peace can be actually enjoying the waiting. Can be sitting there and being relaxed, being I was just gonna say enjoying. You're enjoying the wait. You're enjoying the calm. You're very relaxed. You're very serene, like a still pool of water. I don't even know if serene is the right word. All the time, I don't even know what serene actually means. I just know that it goes hand in hand with tranquil. Whatever. But yeah, I can't say whether peace necessarily makes you actually tranquil. Does it? I don't think so. But it supports tranquility. But the easiest thing to explain the difference between positive, negative, and neutral with is energy. Energy is made of nitrogen. The energy element, as I originally experienced it, is 3 tiers. All the separate, it's actually 2 different sets of 3 tiers, a North Pole and a South Pole, and each one has 3 tiers. But collectively, all those tiers together this one's not as important, so you don't have to pay attention to this part. It's just setting you up for the 3 tiers of the other 2 poles. But collectively, all those poles and all their tiers together in their negative state is breaking. In their neutral state is pushing, and their positive state, oh fuck, I fucked it up. I'm sorry, I have to start this again. In their negative state is braking, and their neutral state is pulling, and in their positive state is pushing. Different types of force, because energy is not only force, but essentially force. So, energy has 2 tiers. One that relates more to feelings, and one that relates more to actions. So the one that relates more to feelings, I'm not sure which pole it is, so I won't be giving you that information, but in its negative state, gotta make sure I got this right, in its negative state, it is pain. In its neutral state, so let me explain this a little bit. Now, I'm sure about the light one, but I'm not sure about the dark one. I'm pretty sure that darkness decharges or negatively charges things, and light positively charges them. They're both essential and important, so don't write one off just because it's not as enjoyable. But so I think that if darkness decharges it, it'll be negative and it'll be pain. And if light charges it positively, it'll be positive and it'll be pleasure. And if it's not charged at all by either one, it'll be satisfaction. So on this particular tier, on this pole, it goes from pain to satisfaction to pleasure. Pain is negative, satisfaction is neutral, and pleasure is positive. And then on the other pole, energy goes from it's in its positive state, it's power. So power is a positive thing. Love is required to have power, among many other things. Things that are normally referred to as spiritual, but really apply to everything. And the spiritual is really just part of the physical. There's no fucking, I'm not going to say there's no ghosts or no spirits, but there's no part of you that is more special than the rest of you. Your spirit is another part of your body. We'll get into that more later. But this pole in its negative state is jealousy. Jealousy and pain are the only two things that can truly destroy. In its neutral state, oh, you know what? I think I fucked this up. I'm not going to go over this again. But in its negative state, I know it's jealousy, and in its positive state, I know it's power. The middle is supposed to be... Oh no, I didn't fuck it up. I'm so sorry. You gotta bear with me. I'm very mentally drained. I've been staying up till 5 in the morning and getting up at 7, trying to catch some extra sleep at after breakfast and sleeping till noon. But I was already totally wiped out at around 8 o'clock. It's now 1:06. I had some coffee, so I'm basically running on fumes. I had coffee at 8 something. So I'll just go through that quickly to finish it off. I'll recover the whole thing since I've been going back and forth, and I'll just shorten it, simplify it, summarize it, which I probably should have done from the first place, but I really wanted you to understand, so I didn't want to skip anything. On the north pole of energy, the North Pole in its negative state is pain, in its neutral state it's satisfaction, in its positive state is pleasure. On the South Pole of the energy element, when it's in its negative state it's jealousy, when it's in its neutral state it is waiting, and when it is in its positive state it is power. So that's why a positive charge is important, because you can't have power or pleasure without love. It's impossible. There is, however, anti-power, which is basically pain and jealousy, which can be inflicted on others. You can twist their minds, you can cause them to suffer, you can cause them to be jealous and envious of you and of everyone else, and cause them to be bitter. That's anti-power. You may use anti-power if you choose. I give you permission, but I warn you at the same time and tell you that it will destroy everything you love, and it will erase everything that gives you pleasure, and it will cripple your emotions, cripple your everything, to the point that you will become a bitter and fickle and disgusting and mean and nasty person with no friends, or at least no real friends, and you will hate everyone and everything, and you will find yourself incapable of actually telling the truth, and you will become very upset. Very upset. And if you choose love and power, you'll find yourself very enlightened and very happy. But I have to tell you something. Remember in episode 2 when I talked about yin and yang? See that light? That goodness? See, good is not all it's chalked up to be. That's why so many good people are the biggest assholes you know. Like, I know you know Christian people. And this will apply more to people that aren't Christians, because they won't be thinking in the mindset of a Christian, so they won't think of themselves as a Christian, so they will see the difference between themselves and Christian people, and it kind of has a different effect. But you know Christian people that are hypocrites, and it seems to be the actual theme of Christianity. not saying every Christian is a hypocrite. Some Christians decide not to apply the hypocritical parts of the Bible to their life, and therefore are not swallowed up by the dogma that makes them hate each other when Christianity is supposed to be a religion of love. And they're like, I hate fags, I hate whoever, I hate all the people that the Bible said were bad, or I hate Muslims, and they're all like, oh, I'm supposed to be all about love, I love everybody, I love all beings, I love all people, etc. God loves me, I love God, God loves you, and so do I, blah, 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 blah. These people actually have a lot of love, and it's the fact that they're not willing to open themselves up to every, I don't want to say that can be misconstrued. I was going to say every aspect of reality, but every frequency, every type of feeling. They're not allowing themselves to feel every kind of emotion, just one kind, just the loving kind, which basically causes corruption. There's good and evil, and then there's corrupt good, which is good that's on the side of evil, and then there is sanctified evil, which is evil that's on the side of good, which is like an evil thing that is evil internally, has malicious thoughts, malicious nature, but generally does good things. Blah, 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 blah. Too complicated to cover in this, and I don't understand enough of it to cover in this. Maybe I'll get to that in another video. But Christian or not, didn't mean to sort of attack the Christians, but sometimes love can be a very painful thing, and a very judgmental thing, and a thing that actually can make us feel bad. A lot worse than hate can make us feel. It just gives you this horrible, sick feeling in your stomach when love hurts you. Just like you want to end everything. Like your whole world's exploded, and the entire explosion of the universe has just punched you right in the stomach. That's where the force of the whole explosion went. Just right into the deepest, most emotional part of your gut. And that's because love is yang, as I was talking about the yin yang. See, it's a white field, a field of light, but it has a black dot. Its greatest extreme is darkness. When something becomes too extreme, it becomes its opposite. So, in a way, the most extreme love, which is what I tried to experience because I saw this power in love, the most extreme love is actually a very, although good, extremely judgmental, extremely punishing, extremely law and order type of punish evil, reward good type of system, which I think is necessary, maybe a bit overboard, and should be supplemented with other things besides just love. But when a parent loves their child, they usually punish them and lay down rules and law and order, and sometimes even spank them or hit them or hurt them to get them to do what they want to do. And sometimes they go overboard, and it's not that they don't love the child. Sometimes they punish the child because they love the child, and sometimes they go overboard because they love them too much. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can tell you, actually, that they've done the wrong thing because they love somebody too much. So love can actually be a bad thing. I'm not going to say it's evil because it's not, but love can hurt you, and love can make things ruined and wrecked, but it supplies an amount of power and a type of power that you need to get by in life. And if you have no love, you will not achieve positive things and you will not succeed. That being said, we also have the yang. I mean the yin. We just covered the yang. The anti-power I was talking about. Now, if you use it by itself, it's going to make you really depressed and angry and fearful and just not in a good mood. You might still be enthralled and even enjoy the flow of the darkness. It's very powerful and gripping and has an ability to just smash energy around you and disassemble any disturbance that there may be in your energy field, your electromagnetic field, or if you want to call it an aura, or just in your surroundings, even signals from antennas and Wi-Fi and stuff like that. It'll interrupt them so they don't interrupt you. And then I don't really know how to compare that to the aspect of the loved one being bad. It's kind of like it's not necessarily pain and all that, but it's like you're mostly suffering, and that suffering can actually be channeled into positive results. That suffering, that sadness, is so magnetically attractive that it can metaphorically and maybe even literally bring you anything you want. Unlike love, which sort of finds one thing and clings to it. No, I don't want to use that explanation. Forget the just like love thing I just said. But the yin, the darkness, has a way of bringing you. I don't know how to put this. Basically, knowledge you can use to destroy, or knowledge of someone else's thoughts, or like a subconscious inclination that tells you how to do something you didn't know before. Its emphasis is on being strenuous. It has a way of building bridges, of taking you to places you didn't know you could go. And you could call that evil, but there isn't really one underlying factor that defines evil. So yin is not really the opposite of yang. Light and dark are opposites, but both yin and yang are part light and part dark. So they're kind of contrasting each other, but they're not actually opposites. So it's hard to sit there and compare one, because where my mind wants to go when I compare one to the other is say, well, yin is this and then yang is the opposite. But it's not. So I get all jumbled up. I get kind of confused. Trying to move on to the next topic, but I can't think of what I want to talk about. It should relate to what I was just talking about. It should be something that combines yin and yang together and also transitions into the next topic. Something that has the ability to open up a new area of conversation. Now, in magic, there's black magic, white magic, and red magic, which is respectively damage magic, healing magic, and movement magic. So I would think that the next thing should be red. And I heard this in a song once, just once, and it repeated in my head once when I was looking at a yin yang, and it was, your black and white could use a little red. And that somehow applies. It's a puzzle that I haven't solved yet. Some meaning of the universe that it hasn't quite come to the surface with me yet. Sometimes it's important to be neutral. Sometimes you don't want to stop this force or stop that force. You neither want to assist this guy or detriment him. You neither want to benefit or detriment. You neither want to crush someone or heal them. You neither want to aid this team or defeat that team, or sorry, should I say, destroy that team, or vice versa. You just want to sit and let things unfold. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to tamper with things. Maybe you want to change the feng shui or change the arrangement of something, but you're not actually out to cause either harm nor good. You're just sort of trying to apply effects, trying to make changes, trying to shift the order of things. And I think that's a good transition. So if there's dark ninjutsu and light ninjutsu, there has to be an in-between ninjutsu. We've all seen the dark ninjas, we've all seen the white ninjas, but what's ever more rare is the red ninja. The feared and dreaded, marvelous and wonderful red ninja. I can make a claim myself to being a red ninja, but not any more than I'd be a black or white ninja, which is interesting because the Native American is called the red man, the Caucasian is called the white man, and the Negro is called the black man, and I am myself a combination of all three of those races. So that's very interesting, and you might want to call that synchronicity. But that my race is almost irrelevant. Red. I'm looking at red to try and catch on to what I'm talking about here. Well, red's a color that's neither bright nor dark, and it's both bright and dark at the same time. Red is the first color to disappear in the dark, meaning it's the hardest to see in the dark. It's harder to see in the dark than black is, but it's pretty much the most standing out color in the light. This is why I don't wear an actual red ninja uniform, because while you're sneaking around in the dark, you'll be completely invisible. But should you have to walk into a light area, you'll be extremely visible, and probably more noticeable than if you wore white. I think the only thing that could be more noticeable than red in the light when you're trying to sneak around would be like electric yellow, and even that doesn't have the feeling of like warning of fire, red light, emergency, I'm not sure where to go with this. I know this is leading something. There's red, this kind of fire, this kind of neutral element, neutral effect of nature. I guess maybe that's where I should go with it. Yeah, that makes sense. At the same time that you have the extremes of yin and yang, of saying, well, I'm going to be very brutal, or oppositionally, I'm going to heal the sick and help people and be nice and good. You also have, I don't want to be an asshole, and I don't feel like helping you, because either A, I'm lazy, B, I just don't feel like it, or C, you don't really deserve it. This is very important. This is an extremely important aspect of life, when we're going to say, okay, I'm not going to do something too extreme. I'm not going to act on, some extreme view or extreme idea, or some extreme inclination. I don't want to punish people with darkness. I don't want to reward people with light. I just want to sit here and mind my own business. Or, I guess, an extreme of neutral would be, I'm going to take part in both sides and try and mediate between the two. Either way, what you're really doing is deciding not necessarily not to take action, but not to decide, I need to cause harm, or I need to, you don't always need to be doing those things. You don't always need to be focusing on succeeding. You don't always need to be tearing your enemies down, attacking, trying your hardest to be the strongest, to hit the hardest, to jump the highest, run the fastest. You don't always need to do that. Sometimes you gotta relax. You gotta relax, and that's essential to ninjutsu as well. You have to take time to be like, well, let's see. I'm a ninja. What's the most efficient way to be a ninja? I think I just touched on it. I think I just discovered it. The red would be efficiency, the middle path. At some point you gotta say, well, I want to accomplish the most things while doing the least work, or putting forth the least effort, or with the least inconvenience. One of those three, or a combination of the three. Either one will work, or any combination of two. But it comes down to efficiency, I guess. And everything you do should be efficient, because that's what's really going to define your success. Not whether you're good or evil, or whether you do harm or good. You can accomplish just as much by either one. Those are just extremes. I guess a good thing to say would be like, I was on a good track and I lost it. A good thing to say would be like, okay, I'm a ninja. I live in modern day Canada, not 1 to 900 years ago in Japan. We do not live in a warring state. I am not being overrun by samurai. Swords are not as good as guns. Anyone with a gun can beat anyone with a sword. I can't carry my weapons openly, and I'll probably get caught carrying them concealed. So why would I want to? And plus, they got so much crime scene investigation technology now that if you kill someone, if you take a sword to them, or you take a, what do you call that? One of those sais to them, or that thing that's on a chain with the sickle on the end. If you take one of those to somebody and you kill them, they're gonna examine the wounds with their advanced technology and their advanced forensic techniques, pretty much like they do on the CSI TV show, and they're gonna be like, I mean, not every city has this good of a crime team as this CSI show, but they're gonna, figure out, oh, he hit him from here, he hit him from that angle, he hit him with this weapon. Where was this weapon purchased? Who bought it? What can we get from our security tapes? Where can we find fingerprints? And if you get one little bit of your DNA on it, if you're gonna go in and attack somebody with melee weapons and kill them, you better never touch that weapon with your bare hands and wear frickin' gloves, because any DNA, you could sneeze on the guy, you could drop an eyelash, and they're just gonna say, oh, well, here's his DNA. It is. Now, they can't match DNA to somebody that's not on file. So if you don't have a criminal record, or if you've never been entered into the system for your DNA, you might be able to get away with it. But in this modern metropolitan world, Not everywhere is a metropolis, of course. It's just not sensible, especially with as advanced technologically and mentally as a species we are now. It's not logical to go and take violent actions against people and just start killing everybody you hate just because you're sneaky and they're not gonna get to you by the time you kill them. You know, just because. And even if they're your enemy, let's say they're a political leader that I don't know, takes your rights away and what can I say? Makes it harder for you to survive. Like you got the Occupy movement, right? And what's that doing? That's just getting people beaten up in the streets. But you need to make your words known. You got to approach the proper authorities. You got to go to the UN and say, you know, this person or this government is violating my human rights. I need help. And you can do that now through the internet. You know, it's pretty hard. It's not impossible. I will make some leeway for people in extremely poor countries, but there are now 1 billion people on Facebook. That's 1/7 of the entire human population of the world. I think if you have a problem that's that bad, there is someone, some way you can contact over the internet at least 1 in 7 times, because at least 1 in 7 people have the internet, and that's not even counting for the people that have the internet but don't use Facebook, or they use it at the library or whatever, but they have access to the internet. There's got to be some way, like what I'm doing right now, and like what I do with my vlog. There's got to be some way you can make your opinion known over the internet. I mean, a webcam barely costs any money. And you could use someone else's webcam. You know, you could buy an extremely cheap camera. I've seen them for $45 in certain sales where the camera's really crappy and they just have to get rid of it. But I've seen, and you can buy old VHS cameras, and you can still. It's harder, but you can upload that to YouTube. But you can get your word out there, and you can make a difference. You can change people's opinions, change people's minds, make them aware, but you have to really be artistic and well-versed and articulate enough to actually make a change. And you have to know what you want, and you have to know how to claim it. But ninjutsu is first and foremost psychology, even before it is deception. So once you learn these deceptive techniques, you can also apply them to things that are not deceptive, because it's ninpo. It's overcoming one weakness with another element, with another weakness. You have to look at what's making this world sick, or what's causing your specific problem that you're trying to overcome, that you think you can overcome with a sit-in that demands love and compassion, or with a knife that will end someone's life. I mean, neither one of those strategies are entirely effective. You could kill a dictator and they could bring in another one right away. Look at, I think, I keep forgetting which Korea it is, but the one that Kim Jong-il ruled over. He died. He died. You know, some people thought, oh, maybe it'll get better now. But Kim Jong-il's son, I don't remember his name, Kim Jong something. Now he rules Korea, that part of Korea, whichever Korea that is, north or south, I'm not sure. And he's pretty much running it the same way, at least to my knowledge, at least all the information I've been provided with. There hasn't really been any change. He's living it up, being a leader, using everybody else as his puppets. So, although killing a political leader could have, could fulfill your I don't know the word. It's escaping me. Could fulfill your needs or your goal. That's it. Could fulfill your goal. Could change the thing you need to be changed. And maybe in some situations that would be the most appropriate thing. Like look at Gaddafi. They killed Gaddafi. I don't actually know how that went over, but they seemed pretty damn happy about it. The fact that he was dead. And Saddam Hussein definitely deserved to die. But maybe it'll fulfill your goals, but maybe it won't. You know, I used to think that if somebody was a problem person, the best way to deal with them, to overcome the problem, was to kill them or eliminate them. I went to jail for it. I didn't kill anyone, but I threatened. Well, they say I threatened. I was planning on stabbing someone with a knife, but I couldn't go through with it, and I changed my mind. I didn't do it in a very ninja way either. I wasn't stealthy at all, so I ended up going to jail. But I learned since then that violence isn't the way to overcome someone. As a matter of fact, intellect is the way to overcome someone. Now, you may think you're born stupid or born smart. You may be born with more intellect than the next person or less, but it is something that can be expanded on by adding knowledge and then learning to understand that knowledge. They even say that people who suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia, if they start to train their brain, if they start to do mentally difficult things like puzzles and like, I don't know, stuff that challenges their brain, like even something like reading and learning, then they will actually regrow lost brain cells. Their brain, which has shrunk in size and lost cells and lost function, it will regain its size. They haven't seen it, from what I've been told, regain its entire size, but they have gained new brain cells. They have regained portions of their brain that were almost completely lost. And the same thing goes for with working out your body as working out your mind. If you get exercise, you gain new muscle, you gain more health, you start to grow, your growth hormones are activated. I don't know exactly what the consequence of the growth hormones being activated is, but it happens, and it made me feel better when I was working out and got big arms and freaking felt like, oh shit, I'm an adult now, but I can still grow. All I have to do is work out. And note how damaging my muscles cause them to grow and expand and heal and make me stronger, so that yin and yang go hand in hand and assist each other. But it's the stress and the strain on your brain or your muscles, the utilization of them, that through overcoming difficulty and through experiencing difficulty, that allows them to become even stronger. So you have to gain experience points if you want to level up. Let's see how much time I got left. Well, this is running pretty long. I've almost gotten into an hour, but I think this is going to a good place. I've done a lot of pacing, so I'm getting my exercise. I'm going to be tired for bed. It's 1:39. I really have to piss, but I don't want to stop this episode yet. And I don't really want to piss while I'm holding the camera. I guess I could just like point it right at my face so that you can't see anything below my waist, or look up or something. Yeah, I really have to piss, so I'm doing this. I just won't point the camera towards where I'm pissing. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, it's just something funny. It's funny how doing something like that is so relaxing. Sometimes it's not require that you do something pleasant to enjoy yourself, but just alleviating suffering can make you feel better. And life kind of goes like that, always transitioning between pleasure and suffering. And that's kind of what I was talking about before with the redness and the transition. There's suffering and there's pleasure, and then there's the transitional point, the point in between, the neutrality, the red, the fire. The fire is between light and darkness. It's neither one, and it's also both. Kind of interesting. It's on both sides and it's on neither side. That's what neutral really is. Forgot to flush. Okay. Maybe I needed that little break to kind of get out of a one-track mind and maybe even end the video soon. I'm gonna have some tea. I'm gonna make some tea. Alright. Right. I think I've done a pretty thorough explanation of neutrality. So what it boils down to, boys and girls, is that in order to progress through life, and not just coast through life, not just try to make everyone else's life better, and not just try to ruin lives, but to actually progress through life. Which is basically realizing that yourself and your environment are inseparable. So when I say your environment, I mean also yourself. So basically to improve your environment, which includes you, to make the universe a better place to live, and make yourself a better activist of the universe, or a better acting force of the universe. You need all these three things. You need creativity and creation. You need destructive nature, or deconstructive nature, and destruction. You need neutrality and efficiency and planning and carefulness. You need positive and negative and neutral, which are both charges and aspects of life. And aside from ninpo, that's all there is to ninjutsu. That's it. There's nothing else. There's all these things we add into ninjutsu, like athleticism and kung fu, and that, but ninjutsu is not. I mean, it is a martial art in the literal sense of the word, because martial means having to do with war or of war. So the term martial art just means art of war. So ninjutsu is like a mental self-defense, but in that superior realm of mentality, we realize that we do have to defend ourselves physically as well. So ninjas practice the conventional martial arts, the term that conventionally martial arts refers to, which is hand-to-hand combat. But really, you should familiarize yourself with all forms of combat. Not necessarily saying every single martial art, but I mean you should familiarize yourself with hand-to-hand, unarmed combat, with short-range or melee weapons, with combat with medium-range weapons, and with combat with long-range weapons like guns and stuff. And you should, as a ninja, be always thinking about, well, always, I don't want to emphasize that too much, but you should consider how anything and everything can be used as a weapon. Even words, even the smallest object, even the largest object, even a car, even someone else's thoughts, or someone else's mind, or their own weaknesses, or your weaknesses, or your strengths. You should be thinking about how anything and everything can be used as a weapon, because that's how you're going to win, that's how you're going to overcome your enemy, is with your weapons. And your fists, you can consider them a weapon. Your feet, you can consider them a weapon. A weapon doesn't have to be a part of you or not a part of you. Your heart can be a weapon. Your mind can be a weapon. You know, your soul, spirit, essence, personality, self, emotions can be a weapon. You know, the law can be a weapon. Activism can be a weapon. And you have to look at each weapon and say what weapon is most effective for each situation. Like, you could not likely kill someone with a bottle cap. It's not very likely that you could, you know, you can't really stab someone to death with a bottle cap. You can't really confuse their mind with a bottle cap unless you use it to hide something far away. Thumb hides the mountain. But if you think of choking, you could probably choke someone to death with a bottle cap, and with a pop bottle cap, like if you got caught in the windpipe, and if you had a pop bottle cap, you might even be able to gouge out somebody's eyes with it or something like that. And there's other things too that go hand in hand with that, like I read in Ha Ha Long's books, that when a ninja falls down to the ground or puts his hands on the ground or goes down to the ground for any reason in a fight, he should always, if possible, pick up dirt or stones to throw into his enemy's eyes. So you got that whole tactical thing going on there. And you know, look how far this is into the video. It's over an hour. And some people are going to stop watching a video after the first 5 minutes because they're like, oh, well, he's rambling on. He's not talking about anything important. I'm not editing my videos. I'm not editing them. I'm trying to make it natural. I'm trying to make it real. It takes me forever to upload these. So don't bitch at me about time, because it's so frustrating for me to have to take so long to upload each video, and it takes forever even just to copy from the SD card onto my computer and from the computer onto my USB stick. I used to use a thing that lets me use SD cards as a USB, but it's a crappy piece of technology and it screwed up one of my SD cards, so I don't want to do that anymore. It might have been my even crappier Chinese $2 USB hub that did it, but something screwed up my SD card and I don't want to chance it because this is my good SD card. So frickin' watch the videos. If you actually want to learn about ninjutsu, watch my ninjutsu videos. They are good. I am a ninja. I know what I'm doing. I'm not a perfect ninja. I do believe that I'm a perfect person. Not saying I'm better than everybody else. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I'm probably not better than everybody else. But I'm a quality individual. You can call that arrogance. I never used to believe in myself. People started telling me how awesome I am. I decided to believe them. And the more I believe them, the more I realize that, hey, I'm not a piece of shit. I'm actually a really great person. So don't put me down for thinking I'm all cool and hot shit and all that stuff, because I am. And I never used to think I was. And now, realizing that I am not a bad person. I'm actually a really good person, a really nice person, and a really great person. And I have to try really hard to inflict any kind of emotional pain on people, because I know how damaging it is, and it makes me feel bad. But I know that sometimes it is necessary for your success for you to assert your domination or attack on people, because sometimes attack is the answer. Not necessarily violence. Sometimes violence is the answer. You gotta have violence sometimes. If someone's being violent with you, sometimes the only way you can stop them is violence. Now maybe you're an expert on restraint and holds and hammer locks and whatever else, and you don't need to punch somebody, or maybe you did wrestling in college or whatever, or in high school, and you're so good at putting people in holds that, or maybe you're a keto master or an Aikido student, and you don't need to hurt someone to disable them. But personally, myself, if someone's trying to kick my ass and really wants to hurt me and make me feel bad and make me feel pain and probably Kirby me if they manage to knock me unconscious, I'm going to let them know that by doing that they're fucking up, and I'm going to punch them right in the liver, because they deserve it. Not because I'm full of hate. I'm full of love. But somebody attacks me first, because I'm not starting shit with people. I make a point of not starting shit so I never have to get into a fight. If somebody starts shit with me, I don't start shit back with them even. But when somebody tries to hit me, or when somebody does hit me, I can even, when somebody hits me, still walk away, as long as it doesn't hurt too much. But when someone's actually a threat to my life, or a threat that is likely to cause severe injury, or some sort of severe problem, then I'm going to dismantle that threat. And I'm going to dismantle it with aggression, because you have to meet aggression with aggression. I mean, not every time you can meet aggression with peace and love and flowers and incense, which doesn't really work. It's better, actually, to address violence with neutrality until it comes to the point where you actually have to fight back and you have to damage your opponent. If someone's trying to hurt you, or if they've only hurt you a little bit, or if they're hurting your emotions, you can often explain to them, reason with them why this is bad, this is good. And you have to really understand emotion to do this. You don't expect to be able to just talk your way out of something if you don't know what you're talking about. But say you bump into somebody by accident, and you bump into them pretty hard, and then you get this really pissed look on their face, like they're gonna kick their ass, like, fuck you, man, I'm gonna kick your ass, or something like that, whatever. He'd be like, sorry, man. And he's like, no, I'm gonna kick your ass. And he's like, no, it was my fault, I didn't mean to do it. I ran into you, and don't say it was your fault if it was his fault. Just be like, I ran into you, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, admit you were wrong. And usually when you admit that you're wrong, and you admit that it was an accident, then they'll go away. Or if you say, hey man, I know you didn't mean to run into me, like say it was their fault, I know you didn't mean to run into me, but you ran into me. I'm not pissed off at you. I am a little bit upset that you're yelling at me and getting all mad at me, but I don't want to fight you, and I don't want to cause any problems. I'm sitting here trying to have a good time. You're going somewhere trying to have a good time. We don't need to fight. We don't need to hurt each other. Like, I'm sorry that we bumped into each other. I probably could have gotten out of your way if I tried harder, but I didn't know you were going to run into me, you know. Just try and defuse the situation. The last thing you want to do is get all fucking pissed off and yell at him and punch him in the head, or yell at him and get your ass laid out. You don't really want to hurt somebody even if you'd win the fight, if you didn't need to and if there was really no reason to. Two people accidentally bumping into each other, no matter who thinks it's whose fault, and no matter how pissed off you get, is not a good reason enough to have a fight. Somebody killing your family member is a good enough reason to have a fight. Somebody trying to stab you with a knife is a good enough reason to have a fight. Somebody trying to take away your rights is a good enough reason to have a fight. Somebody trying to make you feel like shit, someone trying to damage your emotions is a good enough reason to have an emotional fight or an argument, an intellectual battle.